So welcome everyone to this open evening event. I'm Dr. Alessio Cozzolino, and today with me is Dr. Elaine Ern and Dr. Kathy Timlin, who will support us in with your queries regarding admission and other related queries. So what are we going to do today is essentially, I'm excited, by the way, of introducing all the master programs. What we are going to do is to go quickly, program by program. Here in Smurfit, we offer a broad range of programs which essentially cover all possible interests by students. So we have a management program, which is a broad general program. I'll discuss it later. And then a number of specialized programs so that every student, depending on their interest and ambitions, they will find probably what suits them the most. So let's get started with the management program. So this is an excellent offer for students who want to understand business from several perspectives and probably do not have a business background so far. So you will learn essentially about accounting, finance, economics, supply chain, human resource management. So essentially all practices, all functions in a company, which means that when it comes to the job market, given that you were exposed to a variety of disciplines, it's quite likely that people from this program will work in different functions and area, which is essentially a plus, especially if you have not made any decision about your prospects, career, interest at this point. And as you can see, also the employment rate is very high and we tend to place our students also in important companies. Now, there is an online version of the Master in Management, and this is specific for professionals or for individuals with caring responsibility that for different reasons cannot be on campus, or probably people living abroad. So what is the specificity of the offer? Is essentially asynchronous in most of its part. That means that content are preloaded, they're produced in high quality by our lectures and the studios at UCD, and then you can watch the content and the lecture at your convenience when it's more suitable for you. I will discuss another online offer for a different program, which instead has a different type of delivery. Now, as I mentioned, we have a number of specialized programs, and let's move to analyze each of them. And I will introduce each program with a little piece of news or events taking place today in society, so that you can see the relevance of each program for the specific situation we are facing today, and you can probably even more easily memorize what each program is about. So think about DeepSeek recently impacting ChatGPT at the very beginning, but then also causing a major loss of market capitalization in NVIDIA. So what happened here was that a company from China without major investment capabilities, actually, and spending without spending much money, was capable of shaking the big tech industry and even the traditional hardware manufacturers. And it's a type of disruption which is essentially a disruptive strategy. Now, it's essentially the disruptor can be disrupted by someone else. So why is that relevant? It's relevant because companies need to sustain their competitive advantage over time. And whether they are entrants like entrepreneurial startups or traditional companies, they all face the problem of success and sustainability in the long term. And the Master in Strategy Management essentially focus on this specific issue. So you will learn in this program topics such as competitive and corporate strategy, technology strategy, resource allocation, which is essentially finance, leadership and entrepreneurship, and as the other programs in our offer, it tends to combine both reputable academics with PhD degrees from top schools, business schools, and also ex-managers coming from important companies. Now, I want to point your attention towards the summer period. You will have the opportunity of choosing between many options in the summer, either doing a company project where you will work with a company mentor and an academic, or doing an internship, or doing a dissertation, or also doing 3 modules like the traditional curriculum. The placement is very high, and interestingly is fairly shared between management and consultancy, because consultants, of course, are also interested in strategy, and also because the program is a member of the Institute of Management Consultant and Advisors here in Ireland. There is an extensive network of alumni because it's a established program. So those are probably the major takeaways of strategic management. Now, speaking about consulting, think of, for example, here an article by Forbes saying Gen AI is revolutionizing the future of traditional consulting. Now, the issue there is that there are chances that the consulting practice, like many other professions, will be disrupted by AI. But at the same time, because of the major transformation AI is introducing in the industry, there would be increasingly more need for consulting, and companies will seek for advices. So having an opportunity of studying at this moment in time into a specialized management consulting program is important, because you will essentially learn the consulting principles, the major diagnostic techniques used in consulting, as well as project management and strategy foundations. And most of the activities is very practical as a master program. The one in consultancy will be related to clients, so that you start developing a client-consultant relationship since the very beginning. So let's look at the prestigious client companies this program have, so you can have a sense of the type of how the program is backed by strong companies, which essentially provide challenges to our students, and then the students work on consulting projects in a couple of modules during the academic year. Of course, it's a member of the MCA, and also as an evidence of global recognition, consider that the Edu Opinions listed our school along with INSEAD LBS as the few top schools offering consulting programs, because not in all universities there are specialized programs in consulting. Third piece of news or major events taking place today: supply chains. Recently, during COVID, and also due to major other intercontinental competition, there has been a shortage in several materials, such as chips, and the supply chain has been broken for some times. But there are major consideration also regarding the sustainability of the supply chain. Now, we offer a program specializing in sustainable supply chain management, and essentially the programs allows the students to understand how product service are moved from procurement to delivery, the final stage to customers. And in the program you will learn about operations, supply chain principle, analytics, logistics, and supply chain projects. It's ranked 14 in the world by QS, so it's another external, very important recognition of the quality of the programs we offer here in Smurfit. And during the summer term, you will have students in this program will essentially work on a project, supply chain project, with a company mentor, which is a compulsory project. And as I was noting for other programs, strong placement in important companies. Now, look at the consideration by, let's say, for example, the Guardians. This is an advertorial, by the way, so it was not produced by the Guardian, but pointing still to the fact that there are technologies today which allow to make to make the most out of collaboration without spending much time into excessive meetings over and over. And in general, in an independent study, PwC was reporting that companies using the right project management tools were faster 25% more than other teams not using the right project management tools. And in general, using project management is important to respect budget constraints and other necessities. So what is project management about? Is a set of principles that allow the company to complete a project on time, according to the budget and according to the specification of the client. And therefore, it's a major necessity for any corporation to appoint people in the position of being manager of a project. And you will learn about control and planning and leadership skills with relation to project management. It's also a program in which you will learn about agile and specific methodology using project management, and the use of AI is particularly encouraged within this program. Now, there is an online version offer, which essentially is synchronous, meaning that the lectures take place live 2 times per week in the afternoon. So in that respect, is different from the format of the management online program, because in that case is asynchronous. So you have the content preloaded and you look at the content when you want. Whereas in the case of project management, most of the classes are essentially live. And essentially, it targets the same individuals, professional, people with responsibility who cannot be in Ireland. Now, last three actually programs, we are in a conditions in which the international context is changing dramatically. Just recently, from the US, the tariffs imposed on the rest of the world have caused companies and government, let's say, to enter in global trade battles. And we also have essentially several places where there is tensions in Europe and somewhere else, and other geopolitical risks. Now, those type of considerations, why they are important? Because companies will operate in this type of scenarios. So if somebody specializes in understanding how to manage cross-border collaborations, global teams, decision of offshoring, or maybe reducing the extent of globalization due to specific constraints we have. This is essentially important for organizations that at this moment will gain an advantage if they're capable of competing in a correct way in a global context, which is extremely uncertain. So international business is certainly for people who are interested in working in global context, multinational, doing alliance and acquisition across border. But I suppose that the specific context requires even more of this capability today. During the summer, there is a similar offer as we have seen for the strategic management program. So you will have the option of doing an international business consultancy project with companies, or doing an internship. In the strategic management program, there is also the opportunity of doing a dissertation. The placement is extremely high, as we were noting for many other programs. Now, there is a specific programs we offer, which is called SAMS, an alliance between 33 leading business schools. Essentially, students in this program spend 1 trimester at UCD and 1 trimester in another business school wherever in the world. However, the entry barrier is pretty high because you have to have at least 2 languages plus a third language, and it tends to be a very demanding program, but it's probably interesting if you have these specific features, and it's an international management programs essentially, so in the same area as the one we have seen before, but the nature is a bit different from this alliance of several universities. And finally, if we think of what's happening today in the food and agriculture business, and maybe even starting from the nice products we have in Ireland, and then the transformation taking place in area like Japan or Singapore, we have the necessity of combining the quality and value of tradition with robot waiters and many other technologies coming in. And we offer in our school essentially a program in food business strategy. And this emerged from a collaboration between the School of Agriculture and Food Science and our School of Business. So it's a very interesting opportunity for people who want to work in the food business. Now, in the interest of time, I'll pause it here, and I'm very happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alessio. So a couple of the sort of questions that were coming on, Alessio, there were some questions around, if I was to undertake a master's in strategic management, how would this prepare me for an AI-powered landscape in the future?
Now, I'd say that most of the AI challenges are strategic challenges. So if somebody is looking for a specific capability in digital, probably a master in digital analytics may be appropriate. However, it's a different set of skills. Whereas if the consideration is how AI is impacting companies and how companies shall respond, that's the specific focus of strategic management. So you will not learn how to develop and how to manage machine learning techniques, of course, because that's a different type of skills, it's computer science, but you will deal with the problem of AI since day one.
Okay, thank you, Alessio. The other question was, are the management programs more qualitative or quantitative based?
They tend to be more qualitative based. Probably we have one program in which there is a bit more of analytics, which, if I remember well, was in supply chain. But yes, they tend to be relatively more quality. Yes, supply chain management, relatively more quality in comparison, again, with business analytics, which is from MIS, another discipline.
Okay. The other question was, do you get the opportunity to work cross functions? So if you were to do a master's in strategic management, do you get the opportunity to work with other master's programs?
Yes. For example, students in strategic management work together with students in international business on the consultancy project.
Okay. And then there was a question.
Plus, in any of the optional, I apologize, Hélène, in any of the optional modules, you will always meet and study together with students from other programs. So the core modules are program specific, but the optionals will be together with other students.
Yeah, and of course, there's also the GLP program, which allows you to work with cross functions. So, the GLP program is a global leadership program. It is not for credit. It doesn't cost you anything extra to sign up for it, but it is a personal development sort of program. So you would work with students from different master's programs on a set project of interest. So you could be working with somebody from marketing or somebody from finance. So there is that option also. The other question really was around eligibility as well, Alessio. So do I need a business undergrad to apply for these programs?
Yeah. It's probably recommended, but it's not strict. In some cases, the admission team will evaluate application by application, the strengths of the application, also maybe looking at whether there is any evidence of business experience from maybe having spent some time during internship in companies. But let's say that people who really do not have any business experience might benefit themselves from the very first program in management. However, based on our experience, we tend to also get people without a background in business, even in the other specialized programs. Although, if it's a zero business degree at the beginning of the application, maybe the Master in Management is a better option, primarily for the students, not necessarily for you might still do well even if you don't have a business background in other programs, but you will lack some elements, some content for sure.
Yes, so the only program that it is actually compulsory for is the International Management SEMS program.
Same system.
So you actually have to have an undergrad business. For all the other management programs, it is not compulsory. And as Alessio rightly says, for the MSc in management, we prefer if you don't have an undergrad in business because you cover so many basics, and the same with the online program. So I suppose the other sort of questions, Alessio, would be just why would you do a generalist master's over a specialty in management?
Well, first, because of the background. So if your background is not in business, so you are better off doing a master in management where you cover everything. But also in some cases, people may just want to develop a better understanding of the several functions and opportunities, and then the placement will be broader from a master in management, because you will have chances of understanding and practicing a bit of economics, a bit of finance, a bit of accountancy. Those are topics not covered in the other programs. So we have finance, for example, in strategic management, but we don't have accounting nor economics. We don't deal with supply chain in strategic management, nor in consultancy. So there are reasons why you may want to have a general program, but if you have already an interest and some understanding of management functions and principles, then you may probably, for your ambition in a specific area, go for a specialized program.
Okay, the other question here was around is there any pre-masters or onboarding reading modules that I could read before I was to start the class to close any gap that I might have?
Now, that is probably more program specific, and my suggestion would be the person who is asking, maybe he may approach the academic director of the master program and say, shall I do something? In principle, the broad answer is it's not necessary. But if the students really feel or want to come with a bit more preparation, because maybe he perceives of having some gaps, so the academic director of each program will be certainly the right person to ask by email.
Okay, the other question that came up just was, I would like to know if in strategic management there is an opportunity to learn more about leveraging AI and learning some technical skills going forward.
Yeah, again, as I said before, the technical skills is probably not covered in the program, like in all the other programs we offer. If I remember well, there is one program where they have an optional in the area of maybe AI, but not
management. Yeah, special management.
Management, where there is a bit of analytics. Or yes, one program has added, as far as I remember, an AI module. We added until 2 years was machine learning, but then it was removed from the program. So essentially, we offer core strategy principles, which are absolutely necessary to understand the impact of AI, but you will not become a developers. But in reality, AI is democratizing so much everything that probably you don't even need to be a developer at this point. But anyhow, the short answer is you will be a keeper with the strategies and models in order to understand what companies shall do in response to AI.
And digital innovation is probably as well a program that's a little bit more technical, so we do have Masters in Digital Innovation. So if you're looking for more of a technical master's program, as opposed to as Alessia rightly says, more a strategic program, then that would be another program to look at. I suppose just to address the admissions, Alessio, I just want to explain that our programs are still open, and we're still taking applications. If you're interested in applying, you can apply for more than one program. So you can apply for up to 3, with the preference for 1. So we are still open. You do need to have English language requirements, which are outlined on our webpage, and you do need to have a minimum of a 2-1. Now there are some programs that you may need specific quant backgrounds, but on some of the management programs that's not as necessary, but it is obviously very helpful. So please have a look at our website, and you can get those details. Somebody asked the question around, would I add on anything else for my application? Obviously, if you have done any work experience, or you have done any internships, or you have equally done some volunteer work, all of those are good to add into your application, because it gives us a better understanding of the sort of areas you're interested in. My team is always available to speak to you. So to be fair to Alessio today, he covered a broad range of our management programs. So if there is one particular program you think, well, I'm not really sure, the team is always there. And Kathy has included on the chat here where the Smurfit admissions is on the website, and you are free to email me, or you're free to email any one of the team to get a better understanding of, well, would this program suit me better, or would the other program suit me better? So for example, the Masters in International Management, if you have an undergrad degree in economics or business, and you have a number of languages, that might be a program that would suit you. And as Alessia rightly says, you spend 6 months with us and 6 months with one of the partner universities across the globe. And this would be one of the programs where you are required to do an interview. Most of our programs you are not required to an interview, but for SEMS you are. I suppose that sort of covers, there is an application fee, and then you would receive an offer if you were successful and you meet the requirements. If you haven't yet completed your undergrad, you can conditionally accept that offer based on your undergrad. So, you're not going to be the first person who hasn't met those requirements. Yes, there is an English language requirement for English-speaking countries. Within Africa, it varies. It depends on the country, to be honest with you. So if you want to see our website, you'll see under UCD eligibility, you'll see the English language requirements there. So it varies depending on where you're coming from within Africa. Also, just with regard, our courses are all 1-year programs, 12-month programs, and they start in September and run till the end of August for the following year. And we don't have any January starts, so we only have our September start. I'm just checking, let's see, are there scholarships opportunities for Irish National? Yes, we have a very strong scholarship program for our domestic students, and it's the Aspire. Kathy might pop that in there into the chat. And yeah, we would love to see our domestic students, because each year we take between 10 and 12 domestic students on our Aspire program. So there's a very strong scholarship. We have a lot of scholarships on our website, and people should definitely have a look at the scholarship section. But just to say, with domestic students, yeah, there are also scholarships for UCD students, and there's scholarships for non-UCD students. So and some programs have specific scholarships. The supply chain, for example, has a specific scholarship for that area. So it depends. So please feel free. But the Aspire is a very strong and, as I said, quite a sizable scholarship program. There is also our UCD Sports Scholarship. So if you're particularly successful in sports, we have some very strong sports scholarships also. For the SEMS program, can I be considered for, without a non-business undergrad? I'm sorry, no. For the SEMS program, it is the only one. You do require a business undergrad, and that might be economics, or if that would be considered. How long can someone expect a response for the application? We try really hard to get back to you within 2 weeks, but we are inundated with applications, but we really try to be patient with us. So we do try to get back to you as soon as possible. So they're the sort of questions. So if you don't come back to us, please be patient and follow up with us. But we do try where possible to come back to you. Alessio, is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, say anything around the careers? I suppose you gave some really good, strong stats on careers. And
the experience of students is always that we have a career office which is exceptional. So one probably broad comment in the scenario I was discussing before of tariff war and other consideration we may add, Ireland in relative terms is probably a better place to be because of because essentially it's the only country in Europe which has been growing for several years, more than 10-15 years. Is also a neutral country, is a small island, is very attractive for capitals, and so it's a good place to be in general, and the career office is very strong.
Yeah, and we have, I mean, the career team will work with you on your CV, they'll work with you on your interview process. And I suppose just to add also, UCD Smurfit have a very strong alumni network, and we do have a very strong mentoring program. And so if there's a specific area that you're interested in or in particular industry, we're happy to work with you on those to see, and the career office will help you secure a mentor in that particular area. So I think we're kind of coming to an end there, Alessio, because Kathy is telling us are we all out of time, Kathy? I think we are.
I'm afraid so.
Okay.
Thank you, Alessio. You did a
so
super
much,
job.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, everybody.